Hello, I am here with Walter Miller, founder and CEO of Norman Professional Services. Walter, thank you for being here to share about your journey and the Resilient Transformation Academy. You've recently graduated. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure, Julie.
So, what were some of the challenges that you were facing before you enrolled in the Resilient Transformation program?
I would list several things. Um, One, I have been trying to lose the 25 pounds I gained during COVID for quite some time. And so mindlessly eating and emotionally eating as an emotional response to stress was something I had been working on and uh, not seeing much success. Um, I had problems sleeping at night. Um, and the way that would manifest for me was waking up in the middle of the night and my brain would start just racing, sometimes with really insignificant minutia, like did I take the trash out? But always there was a blend of negative self-talk at 2 a.m. in the morning. Um, as a small business owner, I would say I am like many small business owners, often trying to cram, 60 or 70 hours of work into a 40-hour week. So I think uh, one of the things that intrigued me when I heard you speak was just trying to get into flow and try and find ways to work more efficiently. Um, and I've always been a curious person about new ways of improving myself, whether those are very physical and prescribed, like exercise, whether they're or whatever they are, self-help, experiential weekends, you name it. I've probably tried some of it sometime.
All right, so you've done a lot and you've probably tried to fix this problem in the past, like the emotional eating when you're stressed, but it sounded like a lot of things that didn't work for you in the past.
That's correct.
And so how is this program different than anything else that you had tried before?
Well, one thing that attracted me to the program, so I'm the son of a physician, and prior to working with you, I have been doing work on mindset and manifestation and visualization. So those kinds of things weren't new to me. But I would say that being a doctor's son, I am drawn to the places where the more experiential, my brain often wants to call them woo-woo type things, can be connected to science. That gives me greater confidence in them. It makes me more likely to try them, uh, which probably says as much about my upbringing as it does anything else. So when I heard you speak, I was attracted by the boatload of science you threw into your presentation. Um, and I also believe that um, I don't think there's one magic pill for me to take and everything is better. So I'm very open to trying lots of different things that can be in my toolbox. And um, I had done some biofeedback work many, many years ago on something completely unrelated. So the concept of using the heart matter biofeedback was also very intriguing to me.
So, in using that biofeedback and understanding a lot more about your energy and what was happening inside the human body, in particular the autonomic nervous system, as you were using that, and you talked about how you wanted to lose weight when you came in, you had that negative mind chatter, or just even thinking about taking out the trash in the middle of the night. Part of the reason that you also came in was to decrease that negative self-talk. So,
Absolutely.
yeah. So can you talk a little bit about where you are on the other side of that? You talked about your motivation for doing the program, But what has happened now that you've implemented the biofeedback? Is the negative self-talk, has it decreased? Are you sleeping better? Do you have more energy?
The negative self-talk has definitely decreased. I'm definitely sleeping better. I definitely have more energy. I attribute that uh, both to the biofeedback, but I think your techniques around paying attention to language, red light and green light language, as you call it, was very helpful. And one of the ways it showed up in my sleep is improved quite dramatically. I wouldn't say my problems are all gone, but they're severely diminished. But what is noticeable is when I wake up and I can't get back to sleep, it's often that I just can't get back to sleep. I'm not sitting in a cesspool of negative self-talk and minutia details of like, did I take the trash out? It's just my mind is kind of quiet, but I'm having trouble getting back to sleep, and that's a big change for me and a welcome change. You and I have talked about specifically Sundays being problematic for me, um, and not sleeping well on Sunday. I used to dread Sunday nights, almost expecting a bad night of sleep, and that's pretty much gone. I wouldn't say it's vanished forever, but it's severely diminished, and a lousy night of sleep on Sunday is a rare thing now.
Wow, that's a big deal because a lot of people have those Sunday night blues
Yeah,
and to be able to overcome that. And so, in doing so, it sounds like this was more of an inward journey versus an external journey of trying to take different supplements or do something
right.
out here. It was all the internal journey is what really shifted for you.
Yeah, I think it's using the biofeedback and programming my self-talk, uh, visualizing better and positive and healthier outcomes on a Sunday night or how I sleep. All of those, that whole cocktail of things improve the situation.
I know that was a big part of what you wanted to get out of this is deepen your practice of visualization and imagination. So it sounds like you combined a lot of this stuff about the thoughts and the feelings inside the body with the biofeedback and the science and brought it all together.
Yeah,
And
I think the new wrinkle that you helped me, and I think the biofeedback helped me because it gave me a gauge as to whether I was being successful, was to not just go into the thoughts of an experience, but go into the emotions of an imagined experience, either going back in time in a memory or visualizing into a future thing. And it was never a problem for me to go into the thoughts of that experience, but the biofeedback and your guidance helped me get into the emotions of those, and uh, that's a much richer and more effective way of visualizing.
have you found that by doing so that you're able to create with greater ease?
Um, well, I would just share this story. So we're now talking in the end of February, and in January, uh, we lost some business unexpectedly. And it wasn't an existential threat to the business, but it was enough of a loss that it was disturbing. And what I noticed was I didn't panic. I had a lot of certainty. I had was visualizing, continued to visualize abundance, increase, um, really focus on gratitude and these kinds of things. And you fast forward to where we are now in February, and we've replaced those clients with new clients, and those new clients are greater in revenue than what we lost. I didn't know those clients in January. Um, they hadn't appeared yet. Um, I'm not sure exactly to what I can attribute it to. But I think certainly the visualization, the staying in the flow, the um, not freaking out, not going into a scarcity mindset with a lot of harsh, negative, red light limiting kind of language definitely helped.
Wow, really beautiful. And I think what you really said is that you didn't freak out. You
Yeah.
stayed in that state internal. And when you can hold that state internally, that's where the real magic happens. And we say
Hmm.
magic loosely because it is backed by science, which is really beautiful. And in doing so, and by the way, congratulations. So really beautiful job of, the old Walter before he started may have gone down the rabbit hole of the negative internal dialogue and not sleep and freaked out in the middle of the night. And you just did such a beautiful job of holding that state of abundance and not going back into scarcity. And so in doing so and being able to use the technology and these different techniques stacked on top of each other, would you say that overall, like just as a business owner, have you noticed that you've had more energy? Have you had greater productivity?
I think I've had greater, I would say yes to energy. I would say greater focus. Um, Perhaps still not as much focus as I'd like, but it's definitely improved. Um, and I think the biggest difference is this sense of certainty, this sense of not being knocked off my block by things like clients going away or all the kinds of irritations that come up when you're a small business owner. It's not at least as I experience it, it's um, it's a roller coaster. And so to have some tools that help me stay steady amidst all that turbulence is really great.
Really beautiful. Kind of helps you navigate the choppy waters when you hit
Right,
them.
right.
Yeah. And so
The choppy waters aren't going to go away. So
it's
I think
life,
that's
right?
that's life. Yeah.
Yeah, that's life. It's just how are we going to navigate those choppy
Right.
waters is
Exactly.
the
Hmm.
thing. And so, a lot of people might be listening to this now going, wow, that sounds really great. If I could navigate this with greater ease. How would you explain this like to your best friend? Is there any way that you could kind of sum this up and explain how you're doing that?
Well, I think I would say I would say a couple things. One, you can talk to Julie and she'll tell you all the science on this. There's a ton of science behind it. I'm not going to tell you all the science, but there is science behind it. um, and it's objective. So there's lots of science behind it. Uh, and if you've never done anything like this, allow the science that's behind it to give you the comfort that to step into your what might feel uncomfortable to you, what might feel uh, uh, wishy-washy or woo-woo or airy-fairy or so. I don't know what those negative words someone might use,
Right.
but but because another way to put it more neutrally is um, there's science behind it. You're going to enter into, if you enter it into with a spirit of exploration, with a spirit of investigation, you will be in a vulnerable space. But in my experience, uh, the most interesting things I've discovered about myself, I had to get vulnerable first. Um, and so embrace that.
Really beautiful. And you did get vulnerable and you shared what was working and what wasn't working and how could we go deeper into that and kind of figure it out. And you just really did a beautiful job. It's been absolutely wonderful working with you. And a couple of times through this, you talked about having more energy, greater productivity, greater awareness of your emotional state. You came in and you did want to lose some of the weight that you gained, so you reduced your emotional eating when you're stressed. And it just sounds like you made such a beautiful upward trajectory. Do you think that you'll continue to use these tools going forward in a year, 3, 4, 5 years? Will you see yourself continuing to use what you've learned in this academy?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. The biofeedback is a wonderful tool. I've become, I was going to say addicted, but I've made it a habit. That's a healthier way to put it. Um, I'm a
A good
numbers
addiction.
I'm a
Very
numbers guy, so I like it as a data point. Um,
good.
um, I continue to notice language. Um, so I think sort of once my eyes are open to the power of language and the choices I can make around language, it's kind of hard to turn that awareness off. It's changed the way I eat. I eat more mindfully, which was something I was hoping to get out of it. It has, I was meditating before we worked together, but it has changed the way I meditate. So when I am doing the breathing parts of meditation, I'm often doing those through the lens of heart-centered breathing now.
Mhm.
Um, so absolutely, yeah. I think this is a set of tools I will continue to use.
Well, I really love what you said, and you said it loosely that you're kind of addicted to it in the sense that when we get into that state of flow, which we call coherence, and we know how to get there internally, we don't need anything in the external environment to do that. It is such a good feeling. And we get pulled out from life and phone calls and emails and running businesses. And when you get pulled out and you realize, oh, there I go back to the old habits, you can just come right back in. And the more you build that state, it's like you said, it just feels so good. So why would we not continue? And I just feel like you're at the tip of the iceberg, that the door has been open and you had so many beautiful transformations during this academy. And I think your trajectory is just going to keep going up and up and up and up and up. And so thank you for being here and thank you for sharing your story. It's a very inspiring, and thank you for doing the hard work that you did and being vulnerable so that you could see these changes. And congratulations.
You're welcome. Thanks for being a great teacher.
You're welcome. My pleasure.